The banks are gonna hate me for telling you this. Most people are going to miss the biggest shift in generational wealth in history. You will not ever get this chance again, and this is a shift from tactical to industrial Web 2.0 to Web 3.0, and now this is extremely important, as everybody looks away and focus on the FTX collapse where it's all over the news. They're trying to make people believe that crypto as a whole is a scam. There's a big difference between crypto and blockchain. Now hear me out. They're pushing this whole FTX collapse thing all over the media, because they're trying to make you believe that crypto is a scam, and if you invest in crypto you will lose your money. But blockchain technology, distributed ledger technology, on-demand liquidity, ChatGPT, AI, gas, solar, wind, are literally the future of our economy. Now if you're watching this far, I'm gonna share with you the new 1%, so the old paradigm is gas, oil, and the new 1% will be data, software, information and attention. So here's what's happening behind the scenes as you look at the problem, reaction and the solution. Look at the Project M Bridge. The central banks have been working on this since 2017 to connect economies' trough CBDCs, which are central bank digital currencies, and while you are distracted, they're planning to switch over the current monetary system over to blockchain technology. However, there are hundreds of central banks and they're gonna need a bridge of liquidity for all these CBDCs, and Ripple, XRP has the solution to this, and has the liquidity bridge ready to go and ready to be used. This was Mr. Hausler from Tradology team. Central banks doesn't want you to switch your consumer mentality to an investor mentality, so you always loan cash in the present and loan crypto in future from them. Wake up.
How many of you know the difference between payment and settlement? Not too many? So, a couple. All right, so let me just give you just a high level on this. I go to a restaurant and I pay with my Visa card, and they let me go and they don't call the police saying that I left without paying for my food. That's a payment. But I still have to pay my credit card bill, and somebody still has to wire money to the restaurant, right, or ACH or whatever payment system they use. The payment has not been settled. Traditionally, payment and settlement have been completely bifurcated into completely separate systems. SWIFT is a payment system that doesn't do anything with settlement. And the problem with that is it makes it hard to do a good payment because, like, you don't know if the recipient, you can't check the validity of the recipient. You don't know necessarily what the fees are going to be, what the exchange rate's going to be when the payment settles. So we built a system that, and the only reason they've been separated in institutional payments is historic. These systems date back from the old days when people had giant wheels of magnetic tape, and the tape was like on the bank's transaction computer during the day, and someone would physically carry it over to the settlement computer that talked to the other banks at night. And there was no way to settle during the day because the tape had to be on the computer that was handling the bank's transactions. It had to go to the settlement computer when it was done. I'm not joking. I'm serious. If you look at your glitzy, like, front-end application for your bank, and it's all really cool, and you can access it on your phone, and it's all really, you know, it's 21st century, but you scratch just a couple of layers below the surface, and it's like you took a time machine. If you're lucky, you're in the mid to late 70s. Like, that's when these systems that plumb the movement of money were built, and they are breaking down. Even if blockchain completely fails, even if all cryptocurrencies are a bust, the payment world is going to change because it's terrible.
A Seagate or an Amazon or an Airbnb or an Uber, these companies all make large numbers of small payments. Amazon has thousands of merchants that they make payments to. Uber, if you're in the Philippines and you're a driver and you need money for milk, Uber would love you to drive for them and buy milk right that day. But they need efficient payments. They need payments that are as reliable as email for that to happen. And that doesn't exist. And each of these companies employs literally hundreds of people just in their payment division. And if you imagine if you ran a payment company, you would love to go to any of these new corporates and say, hey, fire your hundreds of payment people, we'll do all your payments. But there's nobody who can do that. And so if you imagine if I want to start a regional competitor to Airbnb, let's say I want to do Airbnb just in the Boston area, but I want to take incoming payments from all around the world, the solution can't be that I hire 100 payment engineers to make that business work. That can't be the right solution. So this is going to change. This is broken, and someone is going to fix it, and this is a tremendous opportunity.
But you don't need that. If you had this mechanism in every transaction, you could minimize the transaction cost.
That's the whole idea, right?
That's what the whole idea is. And that's what I loved about it.
Yeah.
I don't believe we need a international currency like that. There's no need. But there is a huge need to bring down the fees of the interchange.
Need or not, it's here. And
so
it's not,
the banks have not wanted to eat their own, to cannibalize themselves.
This is a
but
big
when you see
cannibalization.
pressure like Libra, Do they all get on board pretty quickly and say, okay, wait a second, I'm not going to lose my market share?
Or there's going to be some mechanism of doing what I said, the calibration of currencies that's going between that can just, I mean, you don't need a Libra. You have computers that can monetize and calibrate euro to dollar instantaneous for a couple of basis points, or yen and all that.
Yeah. In seconds, it won't move as much. And the friction will be that you have to sell dollars to buy XRP and then sell XRP to buy peso.
You mentioned the speed of cross-border payments and the opaqueness of that process, and I guess it's also error-prone to some extent with SWIFT. Santander seems to be trying to approach it with a partnership with Ripple. Just curious what your thoughts are on that.
So I do think that of the use cases out there, cross-border is one of the most compelling. We know that intermediation chains cross-border are long and quite opaque, and they're slow, and they can be quite costly. So my sense is that technology with appropriate safeguards could make a material impact and likely will, and it may well be through a partnership model. I don't want to pronounce on any particular approach, but there are a variety of partnerships out there that are trying to innovate and to reduce frictions and increase transparency for those cross-border transactions. In my sense, I'm fairly optimistic that there are some good solutions out there that don't necessitate a global stablecoin.
To the CEO of one of the largest banks in Canada, and they were exiting their correspondent relationship in Brazil. It's expensive for them to hold Brazilian reals, and they're like, look, we don't have enough demand, so now we're going to use a correspondent bank. Now, if they could use XRapid into Brazil, they don't have to have the pre-funded money, they don't have the expense, and they can still solve their customers' problem that need to do business in Brazil. You have north of $20 trillion going cross-border each year. It is fraught with error rates, and it's slow, it's expensive. For me, it's a classic like Silicon Valley going up against the big behemoth Goliath, but it's so broken. I mean, when I go talk to banks, it's a beautiful thing for me because banks don't like SWIFT. They're frustrated with SWIFT. Their customers don't like SWIFT. And that's a great place to be when you're selling into that. So do I think there's other vertical use cases? And maybe if I went back, could we do it differently? Sometimes I wonder that, but I also think we have been so fortunate through a little bit of luck and a little bit of skill that we find ourselves with a lot of momentum in, I think, really solving a problem using these technologies. You want to take one? Go for it. The first one's for you. IMF. Do you see IMF holding crypto assets in the future? I did not put that up there.
Remember, I'm from the legal department. I'm supposed to be very conservative about these things. I don't want to go into great details about
Maybe I should take what the IMF is going to do. I think we stunned Ross into silence with that one.
For that to happen, okay, under the current legal framework, some country would have to use a crypto asset as its currency.
Institutions, Joey and I sat in a meeting not that long ago with, some of the largest institutional money in the world trying to get smart about crypto. They owned zero on that day. I don't know if they do today. But as they enter the market, you have fixed supply, increasing demand. You don't have to go to MIT to know what's going to happen.
Once upon a time, the world of interbank payments was dominated by SWIFT, the global messaging network that connects banks and financial institutions. However, a new technology emerged, Ripple, and slowly but surely, it began to disrupt the industry. Ripple's blockchain-based platform allowed for near-instant and low-cost cross-border payments without the need for intermediaries. It also provided enhanced security and transparency, making it an attractive option for banks looking to improve their payment systems. As more and more banks began to adopt Ripple, its popularity grew, and it soon replaced SWIFT as the predominant interbank payment network. The benefits of Ripple's platform were simply too great to ignore. As Ripple became more widely adopted, the use of its digital asset XRP in the company's on-demand liquidity, ODL product, began to increase. ODL enables banks and financial institutions to use XRP as a bridge currency to facilitate cross-border payments, reducing the cost and time involved in such transactions. With banks using XRP and ODL, demand for the cryptocurrency increased, driving up its price. Institutions began buying XRP in large quantities to ensure they had enough liquidity to facilitate their payments. Investors also took notice, recognizing the potential of Ripple's technology to revolutionize the financial industry. They began buying up XRP in large volumes, causing its price to skyrocket even further. As Ripple continued to gain traction, it became clear that the financial industry would never be the same. The traditional methods of cross-border payments were being replaced by a faster, more efficient, and more secure system. In the end, Ripple's success led to a surge in the price of XRP, making it one of the most valuable cryptocurrencies on the market. The world of finance had been forever changed, thanks to the innovation of Ripple and the adoption of XRP in its ODL product.